Welcome to Real Estate Explained, the podcast that gives you a backstage pass to the ever-evolving world of real estate. I'm your host, Nick Bush, a realtor with over a decade of experience helping clients buy, sell, and invest with confidence. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just curious about the market, this show is for you. Each week, we'll dive into trending topics, break down the latest real estate news, and bring you expert interviews with the pros so you're prepared for every step of the journey. Ready to turn your real estate goals into reality? Keep watching. I'm Nick Bush, your co-host, but you saw like a nice little intro screen for me, so I don't need to introduce myself. I said I'm the co-host. I'm the host.
Host
Glendon is the co-host.
Host with the most.
Well, I'm trying to make Glendon the co-host since you are the co-host. What is it? What should I?
Interim
co-host.
Yeah,
tell the people who you are.
Yeah. Glendon Grose with Moving Mortgage. Here as the co-host with the most. No, we're trying this out. We're testing it out. And this is episode 3 of this.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Bronson's figuring it out. We got this. I'm really enjoying this pillow. It's nice and soft. I'm like a furry wall guy. I'm like,
all right, we're going to sit by Glendon. We got Andrew Hall with Alair Homes on here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate you. I kind of met Andrew from like Massey and then Chad, and then I was just like in Andrew's DM because he's building like a monstrosity in Arlington that I'm stalking.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah, so introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. So my name is Andrew Hall. I've been in the construction industry for about 11 years. I'm a partner and project manager at Alair Homes. I've been with them for about 4.5 years, and we are a full custom home builder and remodeler. So we help homeowners build their dream home.
That's great, man. So this is a monstrosity I'm talking about in Arlington that I was so grateful to see. I was like, I did everything except like, hey, can I come like swing by and walk through the house?
Yeah.
But you guys are doing some cool things in there, right? Yeah. And so I know you're a custom home builder, so this is more of like a ground up project?
Yes.
Or like, was it a tear down and then you guys rebuild? Like, what's the...
Yeah, so we do a lot of work in the Northern Virginia, D.C., Maryland area. So we are working on a lot of dense areas, so it's usually a lot of existing properties. This one was a tear down and rebuild. It was like, I think like 1940s house that had been abandoned for 10 plus years. So yeah, the homeowners who purchased it finally got in contact with us. We went through a process. They hired us as the builder, and now we tore it down and are building a new 7,900 square foot house.
Yeah, can you give us the full specs? How many bedrooms, bathrooms, like square footage? Do you know all that?
So the square footage is about 8,000 square feet. It's 3 levels. Yeah, I know, right, in Arlington, yeah, North Arlington at that. So it is 6 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms. It has a lot of cool features. The basement, it has like a Pilates room. It has a meditation room. It has a wine cellar.
It has an elevator.
If that size, you have to have an elevator.
Elevator for aging in place. Speaking about aging in place, we got the owner suites also on the first floor level. We also have a laundry room on the first floor level. We have an indoor and outdoor fireplace. The outdoor fireplace, you're going to be able to grill on that outdoor fireplace. So it's pretty cool. We got a lot of home automation technology that we can just really dive into if you guys want. But yeah, it's a lot of cool features in the house.
So when you say you guys want, when you say fully customizable, like all those things you said, how does that go? Do you sit down with the owner and say, what do you want? Or do you guys have kind of some specs that you start with, and then from there, they can kind of pivot left or right?
Yeah.
Is it fully customizable? Like, just tell us what you dream, and then we'll design it, type of thing. Like, how does that go?
It's fully customizable, and it really depends. We let the clients that come to us, we put them on the driver's seat, or they are in the driver's seat. From the start. So sometimes they come to us already with a set of plans, and they've already been working with an architect that has already designed all the custom features. And usually some homeowners decide to go the custom route because they've decided that they couldn't find something that's in the existing market that's going to fit their lifestyle. So some clients decide to go the custom route to customize their house like entirely to their lifestyle. This particular owner, they already had a set of plans. We've worked with this architect over the years. So they brought us on with initial discussions. The clients liked what we were about, and that's how they ended up choosing us. And we broke down those set of plans by budget categories, gave them a preliminary estimate, and then over the course of some months, as the plans were going through the permitting process, we started just fine-tuning that budget to where they were comfortable with.
So I know a little bit about this house and how it was, started as one project, and then there was a lot of add-ons and it's gotten more expensive over time. But how often does someone come with the plans, or you guys create the plans and start building, and then there's like, oh, we got to add extra, there's a ton of change orders, right? So what would be someone's kind of like oh crap fund? Like we have to have, more money to take care of, something that we didn't know existed in the project.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ways of viewing that. It really depends on the client. It's always easier if we start with a fully designed set of plans from the onset, if we are able to quote that entirely. It makes everyone's life easier because we know way ahead of the game, like what we're getting ourselves into. We are flexible with clients, so some clients don't know what plumbing fixtures they exactly want. So we're okay working that way, but we let them know, okay, we're going to put this allowance for plumbing fixtures for now,
Okay.
But you are going to need to make a decision by a certain point and give them a deadline.
So you like to pretty much have all the dollars figured out before you even start the project?
As much as possible. Obviously, you can put an allowance for the foundation system, like because that needs to be. That's one of the first things we do right after demo, if demo is needed. We need to have that hard cost for the foundation system. That needs to be fully designed. But plumbing fixtures, since you're not really thinking about that until like the plumber really starts their work, there is a little bit of time for them to finalize that. We prefer having the plumbing fixtures already ahead of the game? Yes, but we give that flexibility to homeowners because sometimes it could be very overwhelming. I mean, if you guys had that 8,000 square foot house to design, and you only had let's say 2 months, that's so overwhelming. Like you got to be thinking about that job every single day, that house every single day to make all your selections from flooring, plumbing fixtures, roofing shingles. It could be overwhelming for some clients. So we give them that flexibility. Okay, you don't have to decide this now, but in the near future you will, and we can go back to that. And once we have that allowance, sometimes they end up exceeding that allowance. And some clients then prefer going that route, or sometimes some clients can be frustrated that the allowance was exceeded, but we've given them some warning. So if they don't like that, then we can scale back some of the plumbing fixture selections.
Okay. Are you seeing what are the trends in building? Because what you guys do, and you can break this down a little bit, is a lot different from what a standard builder does, Ryan Homes, Convenience, some of those guys, right? Where they're kind of building, let's call them cookie cutter for lack of a better term, like a standard townhouse, standard single family house. And you guys are doing kind of gut projects, and this one is, I know, going to be a mid-century modern. So when you're building a custom home for someone, is there still a trend on like style of home or style of build? And are people mostly grabbing from like the finishes that are in the market, or are people like, all over, like kind of like?
Yeah, they could be all over the place, but some patterns there are some trends. And I think Massey, who works with Alair Homes too, he mentioned that big windows is a big thing. We're seeing more commercial style windows in residential homes. And the suppliers for those windows, they're beginning to procure those style of windows for these homes. But home automation is also like a big thing in at least our custom space. We've done a lot of new technology that we're putting into these homes, and you can really go down the rabbit hole as simple as like just putting direct wires to all your TV locations, so to have a stronger internet connection instead of a Wi-Fi connection. Or you could really go dive deep into like lighting controls and audio visual, and that can be really complicated to get into and install into the houses.
You know what I saw the other day in a house? I was in this neighborhood in DC, and there was like I was there for a listing appointment, and this house was probably going to be a tear down, and so I was I was approaching it as that, but there was another house that was under construction at the time, and so I tried to walk in, and I was like, yo, like who's here? And so I started talking to the contractor a little bit. He didn't let me like go in the house, but then I noticed the floors And I'm I don't love LVP except for in the
Yeah.
basement. I'm like, you have to go at least engineer hardwood. But I was like, hey, what are these floors? He goes, these are white oak floors. And I was like, you mean engineered, like engineered hardwood? He goes, no, this is actual white oak. And I mean, it looked beautiful. And I just didn't know people, first of all, I didn't know you could just put white oak floors, like real white oak floors in your house. And I didn't know people were actually thinking on that level. And so I know when you're building, is it all of the clients, wishes and dreams, or are there other people involved in that process?
Yeah, so think of it this way: we're a custom home builder, and like other like flippers or spec homes, they're a different business model. Not that they're wrong, but they're sometimes thinking about the bottom line. They're thinking about like quick appreciation the next like 5 to 7 years, and just flipping that for a profit. With our clients, they're really thinking about their forever home when we're building their homes. So you just got to think about it differently. They're not concerned about the property, the asset appreciating in the next like 5 to 7 years if they're going to be staying there like 15, 20 plus years. So we do a lot of custom stuff that seems like it's a lot today, but it's a huge return on their investment on like how they feel
Like
in their
lifestyle
house.
kinda.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw if Jason Cheney, he's one of the partners at Alair Homes, how he was bringing up the cast iron stacks that we installed at that house at Ohio Street. We do that because like it blocks the sound of rushing water, so you're not going to hear the toilet on the second floor or the shower on the second floor if you're like prepping a meal in the kitchen.
Yeah. I do
So that's a
remember
huge return on your investment for like every day how you're feeling in your own home. So we make all those like little small micro investments into the home that basically gets a huge return on their investment for the longevity of the house that they're staying there.
Interesting. Now, you guys only do custom homes? You don't spec anything out? You don't purchase lots or anything like that?
No, we don't do any of that. Yeah, just fully custom. We work with homeowners who already own a property, and they decide to either fully gut and renovate or tear down and rebuild.
Gotcha. So if I was on the mortgage side, I came with someone that wanted to do construction to perm financing, you would suggest that they find the lot first, get plans, then come to you.
Yeah, and I mean we're venturing into those areas too. So Missy, he's a real estate agent, but he has like a lot of expertise, and we're trying like different business models to see if that will work, where we can have a property or help the homeowner, or if they're looking for a property, help them find a property and build their home. So we are looking at different ways to strategize that. Another thing too, looking into the near future is like getting into the commercial space too, and helping out like renovations and construction in that way. But our bread and butter really is working with existing homeowners.
So then let me ask a question, like how the lender and the builder kind of work together, right? I would love to build. Lauren and I talk about building our home all the time. I want to ask you about costs on that. But as far as I know, Glendon, the construction to perm process works like I find a lot, find a builder. They put the entire project together. Let's just say it's $1 million, right? And then I close on that $1 million once, and then you're just getting draws and I'm paying interest only. And then anytime there's a next stage in the project, like more funds get released to the builder to do the work. Is that essentially the process, or how do you guys talk to each other? Because I'm the homeowner, I'm just like hanging out. Like I'm like probably like walking in to talk to the project manager sometimes. I'm sure you're like talking to me for some reason during the process, but how do you guys talk? Because you're doing the work.
I mean, honestly, and you probably see this a lot, I think that most people don't start for the process with, I want to build my own home. They start by looking, and they find, like you said, they can't find what they're looking for, or they want things that are too unique, or they can't find the right lot. They can't find the right lot with the right house. So then it turns into, well, what other options do I have, right? And then the construction to perm question pops up. And for us, it qualifies very similarly, where you apply, we see what your debt to income ratios are, we base it off of the acquisition of the property, construction costs, and then what we call after repair or after construction value.
Okay.
So the value, let's say the lot is $250,000, $300,000, million, whatever, and then the construction costs are $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, and then the after value is 1.8, 2 million or whatever. They lend we lend based off of the 2 million, right? So you'd have to
Yeah.
have 20% of the 2 million down. Most of the time, if that's the case, people will buy the lot cash and then probably won't need to put any more in because the value of the lot itself will cover the equity position. And then from there, we send them over to someone like Alair. Now, my question is, because I always thought we send it to you and then you guys fix it and come back to us. You're saying that it may be better for them to have talked to an architect, or do you guys like to connect them with an architect or a surveyor or whoever that you guys prefer?
Yeah, so one thing about us that I already mentioned is that we're very flexible. There are a lot of times that clients do show up to us already where they've been working with an architect, they have a set of plans. But we do get clients as well that come in that have like nothing, that are starting from zero, that don't even know where to start. So we can help them through that process. We call it a planning process, where we recommend several architects. Well, we first get to understand like what their goal is and like where their budget, where they think their budget is at. And then from there, we can start breaking that down. We can introduce them to several architects to start working with. And then as the design process is going, we're also helping them like fine tune that budget. Then once the plans are finalized, they get submitted. We're still coordinating if there's any like lingering items that still need to get closed out to finalize the budget. So as soon as the permitting has been approved, we can just roll right into construction. A lot of times our clients already own the property, so they have owned it 5, 10 plus years. So they've had like enough equity built up on that property where they borrow against it, or they're already working to get a construction loan with some lenders. And then we work with like a lot of lenders in the local area, so we can also recommend lenders to them too. And then we always negotiate like a draw schedule, and that's how we get started with that process.
So do you feel like do you prefer clients who are, hey, Andrew, this is what we want to build, right? Or do you prefer someone who is like, we want to build, we have some ideas, but we need the team, we need the architect, we need the designer. Which personality type or which client do you prefer to work with?
That's a hard one. Yeah, I don't think I've really thought about that, but I think what the most important one, whichever thought process is, like if they're decisive, it makes everyone's life easier. Like if they're decisive, like, hey, there's these different options, and we try to explain as much of the options as possible. But as long as they're decisive and to move to like the next steps, it makes it easier. If we call it like analysis paralysis, like, oh, I don't know if I want to go this route, like I don't know if I want that toilet, I don't know about this light fixture. We just need to manage through that process, but it can make it difficult, especially if they're not making those decisions when we need them to be made. So if they decide that they want to add ceiling fans after we drywalled, it's going to be a lot tougher now. It's possible, everything's possible, but we just need to explain to them what the implications are to like the schedule, cost impact, versus if they're very decisive from like the onset, like, oh, I'm going to want these ceiling fans, or if they tell us before we even drywall, okay, like these are the things that I want. It makes everyone's life easier.
I'd be like sharing a Pinterest board.
Well, and he was super nice and didn't bring up the fact that 99% of the time it's the wife that changes her mind a million times.
That's interesting. I feel like it would be opposite for me. I've asked my wife many times, like, yo, if we built a house, what would you want it to look like? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, you've never dreamed about this? And there's one house in particular that we walked in that, because we were talking about, financing the other day, I was like, we'd build that, right?
Yep.
But for me, it's more of like a layout thing. Like, I always say, I can't draw, but I know what I want the picture to look like, right?
Yeah.
And so I would be utilizing the architect. I'd be like, hey, this is kind of what I want, and this is like our lifestyle. What can we, how can we, what can the layout look like? And then I'd almost be utilizing the designer. I'd be like, here are the 300 Pinterest kitchens that I saved, right? Let's like narrow this down. And then I would kind of get out of the way and let Andrew do his thing, because he's like on Instagram, like, here we're pouring the foundation today, and the reason we're pouring it this way is to avoid. So you're the project manager on the job. So what is your role in the project? What does that mean?
It's everything. From cradle to grave for that project.
That's intense.
Fine, from cradle to turnover, to where we're handing over the keys. It really starts from like when the clients reach out to us, helping them find the architect, helping them get through the permitting process, helping them understand what that process is like, helping them select finishes if they need assistance with finishes, if they don't have an interior designer. And then during construction is really assembling all the resources, getting the trade partners, subcontractors under contract, getting them on schedule, ordering materials that need to be at the job site at the appropriate amount of time, thinking ahead, really working with all the personalities that are involved in a project, because I think that's the hardest aspect of being a project manager, because you're working with the personalities of like potentially the husband or wife or partner and partner, but then all the different personalities from the subcontractors, because they each all have their strengths and weaknesses. So you really got to manage those relationships and really just bring the property to the finish line for turnover. So it's very dynamic, and it's a tough job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a funny story for you real quick. I was doing financing for construction of perm down in Hilton Head, and the guy did really well, didn't need the financing, but it was a $2.5 million build. I was financing the build, and it was going to be like a $5-6 million house when it was done. And working through the whole thing with him and get to the end, and this was like 2 years ago when interest rates were like the highest they've been in decades. And I asked the guy, I'm like, why are you could pay cash for this, like why are you financing it? And he was like, that way you guys make sure that they finish on time.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't care about the money, I want you guys to manage the project for me and manage the project manager, because, and not to say that builders don't always close on time, but he was like, that way I know this project's done in 18 months. Like, it will be done no matter what, because they're not going to get paid otherwise.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
it was like an interesting
that's a good
perspective where
point.
I was like, man, this guy is just like paying 11% or it was like 9.5% or something on $2 million when he could pay. He's got the cash in his account right now. Like, why would he just not? He's like, I don't want to have to manage the project. I want you to do it. I was like,
Honestly,
okay.
I'd probably do the same if it was my house too.
Yeah.
I'd do it that way. Yeah. But I mean, with us, like we really care about these homes, and because we understand that, like, a lot of these homeowners is basically like the largest investment they're going to make in their life. So
For sure.
whenever I go into these projects, I'm thinking about it as if it were my house. Like, okay, how would I want my house to be treated? And honestly, it's very emotional for a lot of these clients. Like, I can't tell you how many times it's been emotional when we're like handing over the keys. So we know that it means a lot to them. So what makes us different too is that, like, yeah, we care. We understand where these clients are coming from.
Yeah, I was, just to speak on your last point, when I walked into that house on Ohio Street, I saw there were so many people in the house. Maybe there were like 20 people in the house.
Yeah.
And then Andrew's just like, this guy's like 6'5", he's just like in there chilling. And he's definitely not chilling, but he's in there. And there's like 20 people in the house. They're all working in different sections of the house. And your job is you're responsible for making sure everyone's doing the right thing on time, kind of working together, because it's one house, so it all has to, flow together. And it was like the most exciting thing I've ever seen. I'm sure for you, you have days where you're like, this is so frustrating. Things are not happening.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like,
It's thrilling.
this is so exciting. Because I sell houses, right? So it's like, okay, I sell houses. I've managed flips. I know some general basic kind of construction knowledge, right? You're just picking up things as you go. And then we're managing the client. Our biggest thing when it comes to like construction is like home inspection, right? But I'm like, to be able to see a house go like from the ground up, and then to finish when you're handing the clients the keys, but you got to be a part of that process completely, it's like so much cooler than just like selling houses.
Yeah. It's definitely thrilling. The best way I think my job was described to me was by a homeowner. So when I think it was like around 2021, 2022, the client described it as like being a director of an orchestra.
Yeah.
The one that's like orchestrating like everyone to be like on point. But sometimes some of the performers show up without an instrument. Sometimes they show up like with the wrong instrument. Sometimes they start playing off beat, off rhythm. And your job as a director is still to get them through the finish line because the audience like paid for a performance, and you need to get them through the finish line. So that's the way like you got to think about like being a project manager for these homes.
That makes a lot of sense. I want to just understand costs really quick, because when I was in that house in DC, that was a tear down. I was like, well, how much does it cost to tear this down and build another house? And I actually reached out to Chad, and he was like, oh, it's like $300 to $350 per square foot. And I was like breaking down this concept to my wife, because now I know it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, is that kind of what it costs, like $300 to $350 to build a house? And then a lot of people hit me up and they're like, we want to buy land, like 14 acres, we want to build a house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, do you have another like $150,000 to like develop the land? Like, that's a cool story. You just want to buy some acres. Can you even build on that land? So kind of what are the costs of like what's all involved in like land development? And then what's like a general cost to like build a house, like a kind of average that you could safely throw out? And
I would think if you are a flipper or a spec home builder, those apply, like the cost per square foot. But as a custom home builder, it's much different. I mean, as a custom home builder, there's a wide range. And again, we're basically working for the client, so they can go somewhat custom and they'll get like a smaller per square foot basis, or it can be, again, like that Ohio Street job, it can be ultra custom and the cost per square foot can be like really high, like over 350, over 400, about 500 per square foot. So it really depends on the client. And then the other factors too is, are you doing a new build? Because if you're doing a new build, you're tearing down the house, you're excavating dirt, you're loading away the dirt, you're building a new foundation system. Or are you working with the existing structure and just like tearing down all the guts from the inside and just working with the existing shell? Maybe you add on to it, to the side, to the back of the house, front of the house, or just go one level above. So the cost per square foot is really going to differentiate between like those two types of rebuilds.
That's dope. I want to build a house so bad.
It's not cheap.
I feel like
It's not cheap. That's what he said. He didn't say it, but he said it's not.
No, he didn't. It's not cheap to do that. That's really cool. Do you would you build your house? Like,
I would build.
What do you think is better? Like, so I say this all the time with clients, where I'm just like, yo, like, you want a house that's built in 2010? Cool story. It's newer, but the material is not gonna be amazing. My house in DC, it's built in 1942. It's all brick. It's never fallen. You know.
Yeah,
and so, what do you think about that? Like, is it better to build if you can afford it, or is it kind of like, oh, let me buy this structure and then like enhance the vibes, you know?
I think it depends on the lifestyle you're going for. I mean, do you already like own your home and you thought it was going to be a starter home, but now you're looking at it as like, hey, maybe it's our forever home. We've built enough equity on it. Can we work with the existing structure? What would it cost for us to like tear it down? So I like both. I love new builds because at times it can be easier. But I love working with existing structure because like they do have a lot of character, and I like the component of like reusing the old and then like attaching like a new piece to it. So yeah, I like both.
I agree with you. I think I like the idea of enhancing existing and making it revived. You know, make it something that can go another 100 years. You know, you get some of the too old, and then it gets to be it's just problematic and it's just not good. But I'm also like some of the new stuff. I don't know, man. It's just it looks too new. It's like the Cybertruck.
Like you don't like the modern.
It's just too new. Where it's like I'm not ready for that yet. I like you said, like mid-century modern. I like something that's got a little classic look, so maybe some exposed brick or something like that that's got character, like you were saying.
Well, this is the issue we're running into in Fredericksburg is like, so we own a house in D.C. and that's rented out. Now we live in Fredericksburg, and we've started to look at houses because I have the bug. We're gonna buy something next year, and being a real estate agent and not a first-time home buyer and not living in the house that you own, and we did a renovation in our first house, and it was like a good renovation, but the contractors were not great. So we have that experience, and we kind of know, like, all right, you're going to update your kitchen. You're going to update the bathrooms. For me, I'm probably changing the floors in white oak, engineered hardwood, unless I get balling and can do the real white oak. And so it's like, well, we're going to do a renovation anyway. It's probably going to be $100,000 renovation, right? In most cases, if you go like renovate your entire house, like kitchens, bathrooms, floors, like you're probably around $100,000 just on those things, right? And we've been walking into houses and we've been running into the problem where we're just like, we don't love this.
Yeah.
And unlike, years ago, it's not necessarily cheaper to buy a house right now than it is to rent a house. Specifically in the neighborhoods we're looking in like Fredericksburg, let's say $600,000-$700,000 house, like $4,000 mortgage, right? More or less. We can rent the house in that neighborhood for $3,200, right? Yep. So I'm like, do we want to spend $4,000 on something that we don't really love that we would have to renovate anyway? We don't know.
Yeah.
And my wife and I hate traditional colonials. I don't want to walk in and see the steps, and then the living room is to the living room that no one sits in is to the left, and the dining room is adjacent to that. Then I walk in, there's a kitchen. We hate it.
You're from here. You're from this area.
I'm from this area,
so
right?
Familiar, yeah. I love it. I'm from Texas, so
okay.
I love that style.
And we like the West Coast houses, so we love mid-century moderns, and I think mid-century moderns are the best houses. Now, the livability of mid-century moderns can be a little weird, but I also like the Spanish style houses, which will never be around here, right? And so, and I live in dreamland a lot of times. And I also live in like, I want to do what I want to do land too.
Right.
And I just feel like it would be way better to build a house. The hurdle is like, what if I don't build a dope house? Like, what if I build something and I'm like, oh, I didn't think about this, or I don't really like this layout, or like, then I have it and I'm like not going to change it, right? So I think the biggest thing for me would be like working with the architect to like nail down like exactly what we want to build layout wise, kind of for like our lifestyle, like how we want to live in the house, and then build something like that. I don't know if this is real, but we don't like basements. Like I'm like, what? I'm not
interesting.
Yeah, I'm just
again, it depends where you grow up, right? Like down in Virginia Beach, there's no basements because it's marshland and it floods, and so like there's not a lot of basements down there at all, depending on where you live. So I love basements, but it's because everywhere I grew up, coastal didn't have basements.
Well, for me, it's like, bro, like when am I going to my base? Like my wife, we watch sports and games together. Like she's watching sports and games. Like we watch TV and sports together. Like I don't need a man cave. Right, I don't need a man cave. We can do an office on the main level.
Rec room, or
it's like, when am I chilling in the
basement?
basement?
You can put a podcast studio in there.
You can put a podcast studio in the basement. So I'm just like, yo, like the basement is kind of like wasted space. Storage, man. How much storage do we have? It's kind of like wasted space. So we'd rather build like a 2-level house, but that's wider, right? And maybe like add that second living room on the main level somewhere, that an architect would figure out, and then have like big bedrooms. And I think we'd save costs by not building a basement and just like build like a bigger 2-level house.
I would prefer, so the ranch style homes, we do some of those renovations.
Yeah.
It's harder to find, obviously, in Northern Virginia, but out of McLean, you do have the room over there. So I am working on a house right now. It's ranch style, everything's one level. And those are fun to work with. They're sometimes can be easier to work with too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I had my preference for my own house, I would want a ranch style home.
Ranch style? Swag. Yeah. You're from Texas. What part of Texas are you from?
Oh, man. Many people don't know Laredo, Texas.
Okay, I've heard of it, yeah.
South of San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah, so I moved out here in 2016.
Oh, you're from, look, 2016, working with like one of the best builders in the area. That's impressive, man.
Yeah, well, not immediately. So I did commercial construction when I started off my career in Texas. Then when I moved over here, I accepted a job doing government construction.
Okay.
Felt a little complacent, then moved over with a company that invested in multifamily properties. So we renovated apartments. And then after that, I found an opportunity with Alair Homes. I always knew I wanted to be in the residential space. I was just always slowly like making my transition over there until I finally ended up with Alair Homes.
Yeah, that's dope, bro. Yeah. What's like your niche in construction? What do you do the best? Are you like a carpenter? Are you like better plumber, electric? Like what's your like
If I'm doing like work myself,
Yeah.
well, not sanding and refinishing hardwood floors. Yeah, 'cause I recently just tried that, and it's it's a lot more work than I thought. Even managing the people at my job sites, like I always see them like sanding the floors and refinishing the floors, but actually doing the labor yourself is much harder. Like building some built-ins is much easier, so I've done that at my current house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean painting is also a little bit not easy, but it's easier than some of the
Yeah.
other trades.
What?
So when you brought up the basements, it was a question I wanted to ask earlier. I forgot to ask. I think it's really interesting. Not that you're going to take this question the wrong way. It's not a dig at you. It's just reminding me. But when it comes to people designing their homes, right?
Yeah.
And you have to kind of talk people off the ledge a little bit, I think, sometimes, because resale value, like if you want anything too crazy, you know, like the thought in my mind is if you, I live down in the sticks, but down off Route 15
Yeah.
in like Haymarket area, there's a house that's built like a castle. Like it's got like the castle look and like the cone shape, you know,
Yeah.
pillars in the corners. And there's nobody else that wants to buy that house, right?
Yeah.
No one want to buy that shit. Like that's not. Do you have, what's the weirdest thing that you've like either had to do or had to tell someone you're not gonna do?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I'm not sure. I feel like nothing too entirely crazy. The architectural style of the area is like a lot of craftsmen.
Yeah.
So
Which
there's
is like the new colonial.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a blend of like craftsman, colonial, doing something contemporary. As I'm saying this, I'm trying to think of anything crazy, but we
No
do.
one try to put like a dungeon in there or some crazy shit, you know, like a panic room or like.
Oh, Panic Room's cool. A lot of billionaires are doing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we did a new foundation system. It's called ICF, insulated concrete forms, and just think of it as like Tetris blocks, and it's like made of styrofoam, and you put them together as blocks, and then you fill the cavity in with concrete, and that styrofoam on each end acts as insulation.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a much more expensive form of doing that over in this area. They do it in like Canada for some weather reasons that I'm not entirely sure. So we were talking with the client early on that, look, it's not necessary to do this. It is more of a premium price to do this. There's not a lot of contractors that do this in the area. They're going to have to travel from like other cities and from out of state.
Oh, wow.
So the client still really wanted it. We tried talking to the client that it's not necessary if you want to change now. They still wanted it, so we went through with it. So I actually had a contractor on schedule, and then I'd probably say like 3 weeks before I needed them on schedule, they pulled out. They said they can't do the job.
Oh shit.
So I spun my head trying to find different contractors. I think I found someone from South Virginia that was willing to do it. They typically don't work with builders, but I explained to them the situation and how much of a pinch I was in. So then they came through. It took a month to get them on site.
Wow.
But yeah, that's just one example of how a client just really wanted something that wasn't really necessary.
I think it's almost appropriate to ask about like horror stories also, like anything that just like went left, like went sideways, or like, you know, things that happened in a project. They're just like, oh, like that was miserable. Like, what, do you have any of those kind of?
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's like small ones. There's contractors that are always making mistakes. Either they hit a water line, so that now the things are leaking, and you just need to fix it, address it right away. But I'm really not surprised. So you really need to be patient when you're a project manager
Sure.
in these homes. And early on in my career, when I was doing commercial construction, there was a guy that I was coordinating in the office, and we were talking. It was a painter, and we were talking about, I forgot which wall, and I forgot which color, and like we looked at each other and it's like, hey, the paint color of this wall is going to be green, right? And it's like, yeah. We looked at each other, yes, green. A couple hours passed by. I go look at the wall, and it's blue, and I was like shocked. I was like, hey, like we talked about it. We said that the paint color was going to be green. It's like, no, you said blue. I was like, we looked at each other. So it's like something as simple as that I learned early on that you really can't be shocked. Like there's so many silly little things that end up happening that as much as you try to plan for, There's always going to be a mistake that someone makes. You just really need to learn how to manage through that.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to, I mean, I imagine that you also work with interior designers.
Yes. It helps out a lot. Again, there are clients that are not visual, or they need to visualize the space. Like, it's hard for them to understand a 2D layout of what the kitchen, dining room are going to look like, or even just like the 2D elevations that you see. It's hard for them to picture that. So we always recommend getting like 3D renderings, working with an interior designer, because again, it helps them visualize the space a lot better, especially if they don't understand like what they're seeing in a 2D space.
Yeah, I remember told Jason, I was like, yo, like, I can understand like the blueprints better than I could 9 years ago, but like there's so much detail in those blueprints that you have to really learn. What have we not asked you about like Alair and what you guys do? Like that's probably like obvious or nuance, even that we're like missing talking about.
Well, you've talked about transparency with Massey. I mean, we've been pretty transparent. We are very accountable. So I've talked about how we really care about the emotional aspect, what this means to like clients, but we really make ourselves accountable. So that job at Ohio Street, that's my job. So I gotta like sink or swim. So if things go wrong, it's not going to be because there was like 5 hands in the pot of managing. Like Jason wasn't managing alongside with me and Massey. It's like I'm totally responsible for that job. So if things go wrong, or if we look stupid because there's like mistakes that were made, like that falls back on me.
Yeah.
So that really incentivizes us to just really be on top of our game, like stay on our toes and deliver a quality product.
That's great, man. I appreciate you for joining us today, man. It's great to have you in here, and it's great to kind of know the Alair guys, because I used to live in South Arlington. I lived in Penrose Square, that apartment building above the Giant. And maybe I was there. When I bought my house 2021, so I was there like 2018 to like 2021, and I just remember seeing like all the Alair signs, and I was like, man, like these houses are fire. And you just kind of see Alair take down that neighborhood back there. And I thought you guys were like a boutique custom builder, and you operate that way. It's really cool, but I'm just like, oh no, they're like big dogs out here, just like crushing. And it's cool to like meet all you guys and like understand the inner workings of that.
Yeah, we're all part of the community too. I mean, you've met Chad Hackman.
Mm-hmm.
He's been living here 20 plus years, so he's been a builder like early on in his career. So we all live locally, from Chad to Jason, to me, Massey. So we all, again, just care about the community.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's dope, man. Well, where can the people find you and Alair and get in contact if they want to do a major renovation or build a custom ground up?
Well, Alair Homes is spelled Alair Homes, but you also can find me on Instagram, Andrew_Hall92. So that's the best way to find me. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me. It's really insightful that you guys bring a lot of different perspectives and voices on here.
Thanks, bro.
Let's build some houses, man.
We out.